Principles of Assessment video series. Today we will be talking about an essential component of authentic assessment, Webb's Depth of Knowledge, or DOK, D-O-K. The depth of knowledge levels help us to determine levels of critical thinking in a performance task. With the DOK, one can determine whether or not there is depth and rigor in a performance task. The depth of knowledge framework helps us to determine the levels of performance in a task. With the DOK, we can determine whether or not there is depth and rigor in a particular performance task. In the DOK, there are 4 basic levels that help us determine a performance task. Level 1, recall. Level 2, skills and concepts. Level 3, strategic thinking. And level 4, perhaps most important, extended thinking. In order to understand these levels of thinking engagement, it might help to give you an example, a physical representation, and also to think about it metaphorically. Let's imagine that we are evaluating a performance assessment related to a moonshine still. At our first level, we have recall. As you can see at this level, we have our character, Hillbilly. We are here to learn about the distillation process, but in order to do that, you have to be able to recall the specific parts. So, and I quote, this is the silver spring spigot. It's a very important device. Moves the liquid from part A to part B. This is the double pump masticator. It's a very important item because what it does is it takes the things from the silver spring spigot into the green bucket. And then when you get over here and you get into the blue bucket, then you have your most important part. This is the oxidizing masticulator. It's not even a real thing, but I just said it was because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I know the parts. Hillbilly has been asked to recall what he knows about the distilling process, to recall the basic facts, the what, who, when, where, why. Level 2 of the depth of knowledge framework is skills and concepts. Skills and concepts are best demonstrated by organization, classification, and comparison. Level 2 is best demonstrated by our next character, Mechanic Bill. Now look, I don't want to say nothing bad about the hillbilly, but the guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's talking about things and he's not talking about the problem. This problem right here, your double pump masticator, look at this. It's got a plastic piece on it. Now see, only people who know recall, they don't understand processes, but I do. I understand skills and concepts. I'm going to tell you one thing. You fix the double pump masticator, you put it right in here, and then the water flows through here, and the green bucket straight into the silver spring spigot, and guess what you got? Moonshine. Bill the mechanic misuses knowledge and understanding of the moonshine still in order to get it working again. He must be able to analyze, infer, determine cause and effect, and identify patterns based upon his knowledge of skills and concepts. Level 3 is strategic thinking. Strategic thinking requires students to be able to develop arguments based upon logic, to test hypotheses based upon the scientific process, to construct, and ultimately be able to analyze and evaluate. Thomas Edison Bill must use his strategic thinking to construct and test a skill. I have spent many years trying to figure out the distillation process. I'm Thomas Edison Bill, inventor of the light bulb. And today we are going to figure out what the mechanic, what that silly hillbilly, were unable to do. I've been working here for hours, and I believe I've identified the problem. You see, I tested their hypotheses, and it's not the problem with the plastic on the double pump masticulator. That's not it at all. No, on the contrary. What they need to do is move the silver spring spigot from the green bucket to the blue bucket, and then transfer our water vegetable into liquid option A. Please snip liquid option A. Perfect. Now you see, I could have only figured this out if I had tested and hypothesized the problem. But you see, I'm a level 3 thinker, so this is what I do. Level 4 represents the highest level of critical thinking, extended thinking. Extended thinking can best be characterized when students have to critically apply their understanding in a variety of models, to be able to solve abstract and conceptual problems, to be able to apply concepts in order to synthesize critique and analyze, and ultimately create. This process is best represented by Einstein Bill.
Hello, I'm Einstein Bill, and I'm wondering really, what is distillation? With the final level of extended thinking, what we do is we look at the parts and we think to ourselves, what are we doing? What is this strange contraption made in Sweden? I don't know, but it's not for distillation. Okay, so thinking about the extended thinking. Extended thinking is about taking all of the parts from the Einstein, the parts from the hillbilly, and the parts from the mechanic, and putting them all together and thinking conceptually about what it is all about. This is extended thinking. It's taking the concepts in front of you and coming up with the best solutions. It's just that simple. You're so stupid.
Depth of knowledge levels help us determine the particular levels in a performance task. With the DOK, one can determine whether or not there is depth and rigor in a performance task. The 4 basic levels of thinking: recall, skills and concepts, strategic thinking, and extended thinking best compromise and represent the depth of knowledge, or DOK framework. By engaging students in multiple depth of knowledge levels, assessments will be rigorous, authentic, and real life, and will help model the real-life critical thinking skills students need for a productive future. They also allow you to make one hell of an authentic assessment moonshine. No.